Okay, so as I mentioned, being a machinist, I also build extremely accurate long-range rifles starting from scratch, such as this beauty right here. Okay, carbon fiber barrel, carbon fiber chassis, etc., etc. Custom $200 trigger. The trigger has a set trigger, so you push it forward and boom, 4 ounces. Okay, so what this exercise is going to demonstrate is what a lot of you guys probably don't know, is how much a rifle moves just from pulling the trigger, just the trigger spring itself. And we're going to remove the amount of pressure it takes, say 3 pounds of pressure to pull the trigger. Well, this only takes 4. I could hit it with a Q-tip and it would set the trigger off. So I'm going to zoom in. I got a dial indicator on the tip of the barrel. I have to pause and refocus. Hey, it focused. Okay. So we got the stylus tip. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to zoom out. I'm going to show you that if I just, well, you can't see it. I'm just going to touch the table. Alright, so this will also show you that whatever, that's why it's good to be prone on the earth. The earth don't move. Your truck, if you're in the bed of your truck's going to jump all around because of the shocks and the pneumatic tires. Anyway, I'm just going to touch the table. Okay, I'm touching the table. That's moving the dial gauge. See that? So what I want you to see is the fact that just the trigger spring itself will vibrate the gun. Ready? Did you see the needle move? Do it again. Oh, look. I reset. Now, theoretically, it's aiming in a totally different spot. Okay? Do you know that? Can you define that small of a measurement through your scope with your crosshairs on your target? You have to. Ready? Now I'm not going to set it, and it's about 2 pounds. Okay, so it jumped about 3/1000ths of an inch. What does that translate to? Do some quick math. 1/1000th of an inch equals how many at 100 yards? So if the gun is, let's say, 3 feet long, so that would be 300 feet. So that's a 100-to-1 ratio. In other words, the pivot point is on the bipod. Okay? So if you have a lever 3 foot long and it extends out 300 feet, you're going to have a 100-to-1 ratio of however much you move the butt of the rifle is going to translate to 100 times that amount at distance. So if I move 1/1000th of an inch on the rifle, see it? That translates to 1/10 of an inch at 100 yards of dispersion of your bullet. So if you can't keep it still to within, okay, so times 10. 10/1000ths of an inch, here's 10/1000th of an inch. There's 10/1000ths of an inch, and I'm going to let off. Now it went back. If you can't keep the gun more still than that, you will never shoot better than 1 inch at 100 yards, just because of 10/1000ths of an inch movement. Okay? So if we can reduce the movement of the rifle 1/10 of an inch 10 times, you just took your group size down by a full inch. Okay? Which means when you're behind the rifle, if you're doing this shit, you're moving around, blah, 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 and you're breathing, you got to realize when you are perfectly still, that's when to pull the trigger. All right, so there's another action that you can practice with this method. Not just keeping it on 0, but see how still you can keep the gun while you're holding it, okay? So let's forget about 0 for a minute. I'm just going to try to hold the needle still while I pull the trigger so that my follow through is perfectly still, because the bullet is exiting the barrel after you've pulled the trigger, okay? You need to keep that gun still as the bullet is traveling. It's not an instantaneous, the bullet magically transports to the target. It takes time for everything to happen. We're just going to keep the needle still. Okay, so I kept it that time within 20 thou. Okay, 20 thou times 100, that's 2-inch group at 100. Now, I kept it rather still. That time I shot better. Okay, let's try it again. So actually, I would like you guys to practice this first. Just see how still you can keep it. Ready? Now that was a perfect execution and perfect follow through, because I kept the gun still the whole time, even after I had pulled the trigger and the bullet exited the barrel. Okay, I am testing some 284 Winchester loads, 162 ELDX with 54 grains of 4831, and what I'm doing is running a ladder test of seating depth. So I'm starting at, starting at close to the lands and working backwards right now. So the last two shots, it's going well, so I figured I'd film it and then we'll see. Anyway, the last two shots went in the same hole. So just above center, you'll see 4 shots printed, and I'm gonna log my seating depth. This is overall length, not with a comparator. So the two that the seating depth worked great at for my own records was at 3.175. So I'll have to repeat that with, say, 10 shots and repeat consistency. Anyway, so now 54 grains, 4831 at 3.170 overall length. What I'm doing is I'm aiming at the same spot, and then I'm watching the dispersion happen. So when they cluster together, you can see it, because they'll go in the same hole. So you actually see 3 holes, like a clover leaf. On the hole that's on the left is actually 2 shots. So what we might see, if they start going in the same hole, it looks like the hole wiggles. Ending. That looked good too. So what I like to see is, let's say it shoots well at maybe 3 different seating depths. I'm working back 5/1000ths of an inch at a time. That gives me a nice window in case overall length varies within 5 to 10 thou due to the differences in bullet lengths. They're not all exactly the same. They're usually within a couple thousandths of each other. But so let's say on the left extreme of the window and the right extreme of the window, I'll load them in the center of that. And that gives me a 5/1000 leeway either way in overall length. Bending. I like it. I don't think I'm going to go any further. I mean, I like that seating depth. They're all going in the same hole, so we'll call it. Thanks for watching.